All right, sometimes I just dance to the opening music. That's what I'm doing behind the scenes. I feel like I should have some sort of like pre-show what the hell is going on camera that just goes on that kind of like shows when I'm actually setting stuff up and I'm listening to the music and I'm just doing my thing. How you doing? Good to see you. How are you? It's Tuesday afternoon. And today's show, by the way, hello chat room. How are you? Lovely to see you. Hi there. What's going on? Yeah, a Chud cam would be a great idea. Although I could just, quite frankly, most of the time I could use a Chud still picture and you wouldn't know the difference. You'd be like, is she breathing? I think she is. You know. You know that old Edie Brickell in the New Bohemian songs? Religion is a smile on a dog. That one. I think that's the notes. Anyways, that's also a Chud is breathing thing. It's just what you can believe what you want. There's no way to know. That said, if I may, today's going to be about the right-wing Flopaganda that is desperately trying to claw its way into your eye holes and your ear holes and make you think, check YouTube. Something's up on YouTube. What's happening? Check YouTube. Check. All right, an old over the shoulder. All right. Any word on the Hunter Biden laptop? Yes, here it is. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. That's the word. The bird is all right. YouTube seems to be up. Is it just taking a moment? Perhaps it is running late. I don't know. Maybe sometimes, there can be a thing with wherever you are. That's also, because you know me, I will always assume it's my fault and move towards remedying whatever the problem might be immediately. Because I think, it's scars from being a Boy Scout, be prepared and always assume responsibility. And sometimes it just quite ain't. It just ain't. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate son. So, I will always go, if you start me on that stuff, you guys know I will climb under my desk and start throwing wires all over the place. And you're like, now YouTube was down for a little while. So hi. Will China join the Russia war? No. China will not be joining the Russian war. No. And they also will not be providing, military assistance of any measure to Russia either. Just letting you know. Much ado about bullshit, and Xi Jinping's potential trip to Moscow is an exertion of power of Beijing over Moscow. Just saying. The fact that Putin needs to have this trip in the first place to kind of show like, hey, we got somebody in our corner, is a bad sign for him. It's fucked up, and it's going to be a problem, and that's that. Just letting you know. Fear not. Anyway, so hi chat room again. I was going to switch over and look for, the collapse of YouTube, but it's nice that we don't have to. So hi everybody coming through there. Thanks. Glad you like the jacket. It's chilly. It's chilly. So a lot of times it's the winter thing. I don't know if I'll still be able to wear a jacket for the show once summer comes back around in this place. I may have to do it oiled up and completely naked, but luckily this is a waist up kind of a show. Anyways, because it's going to be hot. And that said, I would like to say for the record that Las Vegas is a curious place in that in the summer especially, you're in more danger of hypothermia than heat stroke. And if you ever go see a movie here during the summer, I recommend wearing a parka, perhaps animal skins like unto were worn by Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us, or something you'd see in The Revenant, perhaps, because you will freeze your extremities off. If a double feature, you're going to have to cut off a toe. That's just all there is to it. So, all right. Yeah, blanket required. Absolutely. And if it's not required, it's good to have anyways. And you sit in the back and the movie gets boring. It doesn't have to be. Anyways, hi. How are you? Welcome. It's House Sparks Megaworldwide. You're here. I'm here. I'm wearing my NASA shirt today, largely by accident. Summer and I both, not accident, I obviously didn't trip and fall into a shirt, but Summer and I both walked out, I got dressed and I came back in, and Summer was putting on her NASA shirt, and I was like, oh, we're theming it today. Awesome. So, and no, you don't get to see it because it's like a half shirt thing that she has that's just fun only around the house. You're not, piss off. Go away. All right, so a couple things. How do I start this first video? Because I think it's, all right. I recently pointed out on the Twitter machine recently did it, that that the way right-wingers say woke and talk about woke and the wokety woke, the way they bring up woke, it reminds me of that scene in Better Off Dead where the dad is having a conversation with John Cusack and looking at a book of like hipster slang, where he's like, it's like when somebody talks about, I think he's smoking the reefer or Mary Jane, you know what I mean? It's like, by the time woke has filtered down to where it's become this kind of like George Soros buzzword thing, you're like, nobody fucking says that anymore. Yeah, right off, on. Right on, Dad. That's exactly right. So, you're bringing me over, Lane. That's right. Down. Right. So, I'm a, huge fan of that movie. And on top of that, it just, you can tell when a talking point or a phrase is dying by the way it like eventually crowbars its way into the national zeitgeist. Like it's like when an indie band shows up and everybody's like, "This is awesome! I'm in on the new hotness," and then the minute they're on the radio, they're like, "This is gonna be in a fucking elevator in 5 years." Like this band is doomed to to permanent status. I thought this was a cool inside thing with me and just my friends, but now, it's jumped the shark, and my mom doesn't even change the channel when the song comes on anymore. You know what I mean? So there are a bunch of things like that. There are also a lot of propaganda phrases that in a desperate attempt to try and to win over the other side of an argument. Because again, propaganda is only for reinforcing your own tribe's view of things, making sure they stay in line, and in an advertising sense, winning over the other side, by looking familiar or at least comforting to them. So one of the things that started floating around for a little while was, and I told everybody about this when it happened, that faux-aggressive, fake left people, the Door ilk, that crowd, and those, that are in their wake on social media, were floating the use of the word warmonger. And I don't know if anybody, got hit with that one. Like they tried war profiteering, and you're supporting war profiteering. Yeah, TYT does the same thing. Warmongering, like their followers will throw this around. And it's one of those things where like they really committed for about a week to like throw warmonger at those of us that say protested the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And by the way, tailored our vote to vote for people, whether it was John Kerry or Barack Obama or ultimately Joe Biden, who would get us the fuck out of those places. And Biden ultimately did, and I'm happy that he did it. Yet another reason why I'm a proud Joe Biden voter, not the least of which is, of course, lead pipes. Like that thing alone will change the direction of the country a few decades down the road, when we don't have people with prefrontal cortexes that look like Swiss cheese, like Marge, making our country's decisions. Anyways, with no impulse control. So, yes, the fuck did Russia just invade Moldova? No, Moldova is already, the border region of Moldova is already occupied by Russia. That just came up. That's a wedge area, right? Yet another, by the way, in the same way they create a border dispute so that Moldova can't join NATO. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But so the word warmonger was in there, and you'd see it on Twitter. People would go, "Oh, you warmonger! Blah, 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 where's your peace? Blah blah peace, blah blah." And you're like, "Yeah, that's it's not pro peace to insist that someone who is in the process of being murdered not fight back." Pacifism when only applied to the person using self-defense is indeed a defense of the aggressive violence of the other person. I think we can all kind of agree on that. Yeah. So, anyways, that said, you can tell that phrase has jumped the shark, and it's gotten all the way to Grandpa. And we know this because there he is. And the title of this Rumble video that he's put out is Agenda 47, which, by the way, that he's... because he was 45, 46, 47, so he's going to call it like it's Agenda 21. Is he going to... I'm calling this Operation Orange Helm. Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't grasp that a bunch of people will think this sounds very much like the UN stuff, right? Anyways, doesn't matter. Let me remind you, if anything about him upsets you, don't let it. The guy has fucked himself into a cocktat. He's on a downward spiral. This is a hard phase, and as you'll see in a moment. And I think there's something fucked up with his eyeball. I haven't watched this, but I saw a piece of it online, and I was watching it with the sound off, and he looked like Egg Chen from Big Trouble in Little China. You know, that guy always looked like he had one eye shut constantly. That's how it starts. Very small. Remember that guy? Awesome. Anyways, so this is the title of this. President Trump announces plan to stop the America Last warmongers and globalists. How do you stop the America Last warmongers, whatever, and globalists? Okay, which means Jews, but whatever. And also the warmonger part, especially when applied to like fishmonger, it's the person who just hucks war for a living. And while at the same time, Trump wants to remind you ad nauseum that he built up our military and our nukes to the biggest and best and shiniest. He put all new backsplash on the nukes. They've all got fancy marble, the Greek kind that you have to ship over in giant slabs. If there's a single crack in it, you send it the fuck back. That we have Swarovski'd all of our nukes. He had he wanted them to be extra scary. I don't know if you know this, but Trump wanted our nukes to be really scary so that, right as you see them coming, you're genuinely afraid, unlike when you see a normal nuke coming. And so he had Melania dress them up like her Christmas trees. So this is his plan. This is his plan. It's a plan. So there's going to be probably, 5 points and a strategy, something. We'll see. But I'm excited. Anytime he has a plan, now there is a chance, because he's announcing a plan, that this video is 2 weeks long and never ends. So, buckle in. I'm gonna stop the warmongery.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now.
Nah. No, it has. Bay of Pigs. I mean, there was literally a couple of times where, and he seems quiet. I don't know if it's me. Hold on one second. I'm just going to make sure the audio is full up on there. But we've had a lot of close calls, I'm just saying, over the years, when the USSR was around especially.
We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America Last globalists and the deep state.
Excuse me, it's America Last warmongers and globalists. Like the I mean, it's kind of redundant to say a globalist who's America last, because a globalist is for all things, all the time. Everybody does it. So there isn't even a first, much less the fucking last with the globalist. Like Earth first, I don't know where they're going to go. But it's America last, warmonger. Stick to the script. God damn it. How come this guy never...
The Pentagon, the
See what I mean about his eye, though?
State Department, and the National Security Industrial Complex. One of the reasons I was
The National Security Industrial Complex. That's new. Not the military industrial complex, which sounds like, why must we fund these things that make war in other countries? No, the National Security Industrial Complex. You mean like the company that built the fucking wall, or DHS? Yeah, his audio is low. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm going to try and remedy that if I can. Let's see, how do we do it? I don't know. I'll try.
America last globalist in the deep state, the Pentagon, the State Department, and the National Security Industrial Complex.
Yeah, the National Security Industrial Complex. Honest to God, that makes no fucking sense to me at all.
One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war
is because nobody starts wars anymore. You just use the authorized use of military force from the war on terror to do shit. Motherfucker, you got us going in Syria. You furthered that, and then you're like, I'd take the troops out of Syria, and you send them to Saudi Arabia to guard gas refineries.
That I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out.
Okay, reminder. We just watched yesterday where he gave his little speech at the 47 Club, or whatever the shit that was, where he said that he never intended to get out of Bagram, ever. Ever. Why? Because it's an hour away from where China makes their nukes. So we were going to leave Afghanistan by staying in Afghanistan. Secondly, yeah, his right eye is like swollen shut. It's very strange. And the general idea of him like, I'm pulling us out of places. The only places he pulled us out of or threatened to pull us out of genuinely were places Russia wanted to go into, specifically Syria, and then to undermine the Germany in relation to NATO. Remember, he was pulling a bunch of troops out of there. Yeah, understand, like, looking back, it is impossible to view his moves favoring Putin and wedging NATO as anything other than an attempt to tee up Russia's attack on Ukraine at some point in the future. Whether it was the first year of his second term, where he was like, well, it just happened, we're friends, and it's their country anyways, we'll just let it happen, which he would have done. Or if they were going to do it right after he left, or in his last year because he couldn't run again, and it would just fuck everybody else.
For decades, we've had the very same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with...
Oh, by the way, if you'll notice, he is all but quoting Jimmy Dore, Aaron Mate, Max Blumenthal, all these fuckers at the rage on behalf of the Wagner Group thing that was this weekend. They all go to Newland. They all go to that like slice of the phone conversation where she's like, they're fucking falling apart. Who's a decent person? Who can we talk to that's that isn't going to be a war criminal that might take over this place if they want to stabilize it? Who could it be? And while they're having that conversation, Ukraine made up their own fucking mind. And the guy that they actually wanted didn't want to do it. The guy who was the head of the opposition. And then he ended up being like a temp for a month. Still had nothing to do with the elections after the fact. They're still pissed about that.
With pushing Ukraine.
And by the way, I mean the pro-Putin crowd.
Toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprising.
First of all, pushing Ukraine towards NATO like fucking how? It didn't happen when Biden was in office. It hasn't happened the entire time he's been there. Did it happen under Trump and they just didn't talk about it? Was his State Department, was Pompeo whispering to Ukraine allegedly during the Trump administration, and that was driving Russia? That's what all the fucking prostate exams he was getting from Putin were about. Was, we used to tell your guy to stop fucking with them, making them try to join NATO. It's fucking 10 years ago now.
Things in Ukraine. These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world, and now...
Much like the case in Iraq? All right. First of all, you've all heard the, I think it was the Howard Stern interview where he said, you got to go into Iraq. He goes, yeah, I guess so, but you wouldn't like it. So, look, I don't care how you fucking feel about it. If you'd make the decision to go in, either justify it or shut the fuck up. Secondly, this is written almost identically, and probably Stephen Miller wrote this out because he's trying to appeal to that crowd, the Jill Stein, Tulsi Gabbard, Jimmy Dore crowd that was at that thing. That's all this is. This is basically, think of this as the video they would have played of him, at that event.
Now we're teetering on the brink of World War III.
We've never been closer, you said. How are we teetering on the brink? We've teetered before. We've teetered multiple times. We've had big teeters and little teeters on the brink of World War III so many times in my existence. And so if we're closer than we ever been, we got to at least be tottering now. If we're going to, in the teeter and the totter.
And a lot of people don't see it, but I see it. And
well, yeah, luckily you're here to tell us. A lot of people don't see that things are dangerous right now because they're not enough, actually. So.
Been right about a lot of things. They all say Trump's been right about everything. None of this.
No, they don't. I mean, that's not fair. Because I don't know who the fuck the they is in this situation. It could be just the they is the only they that matters, which is the sycophant weirdos like we saw asking him questions at that little club gathering he had.
Excuses in any way the outrageous and...
Excuses? Sorry?
But I see it, and I've been right about a lot of things. They all say Trump's been right about everything. None of this excuses in any way the outrageous and horrible invasion of Ukraine 1 year ago, which would have never happened if I was your president. Not even a little chance.
Not even a little chance. Yeah, it would have been over in a matter of days. Sorry. Like, his entire presidency was about helping Putin tee this shit up. Yeah.
But it does mean that...
And also, there is a thought that if he had won, it wouldn't happen when it did because COVID would still be raging and there wouldn't have done anything. And he would have gone, I wouldn't take those shots if I were you.
Here in America, we need to get rid of the corrupt globalist establishment.
The corrupt globalist establishment, which I'm pretty sure he means Mitch McConnell.
That has botched every major foreign policy decision for decades, and that includes President Biden, who... whose own people said he's never made a good decision.
No, that you're thinking of Gates, and Gates was full of shit.
When it comes to looking at other countries and looking at wars, we have...
It's not a direct quote. What was the thing? They said he was wrong about looking in the potty and seeing what the boom boom. So Gates said he's been wrong about every foreign policy decision he ever made. Which, by the way, he was against the surge because he wanted us to get the fuck out. He was right about that. Biden was very much right about that. He was also right in telling Obama multiple times, these fuckers are always going to tell you it's going to suck. They're always going to tell you they're 6 to 10, 8 months away from solving this shit. Get the fuck out. That said, it's your decision. But I'm here to tell you, I've been around these guys for a long time. They're hammers. They think everything's a fucking nail, and sometimes you got to be the screwdriver, and that's your job. But hey, you make your decision, but I'm here to tell you, these generals are going to tell you the same bullshit. And what happened? Obama stayed in, he listened to him, and he tried to, half measure it because he was listening. He was trying to be accommodating to a lot of different people. And then Trump got in, same generals saying the same shit. And he was like, well, I don't want my poll numbers bad. So, and then Biden got in and they went, we'll just need another 8 to, we should extend this, knock off his deal, and we'll 8 to 10 months, we'll have this knocked out. And Biden was like, nah, I ran on getting us out. We're getting the fuck out. We are getting the fuck, pack your shit. Everybody pack their shit. Get them the fuck out. For real this time. Nobody listened to me fucking 6 years ago. Everybody, we're getting the fuck out. And we're out. And by the way, also a reminder, this guy said as soon, like a day and a half ago, that he would have stayed and kept Bagram and parked our soldiers there forever.
To replace them with people who support American interests. Over our 4 years in the White House, we made incredible progress in putting the America Last contingent aside.
But yes, that was what we were doing. Not so much putting America first, but putting the America Last contingent aside. We might need it later. America Last contingent, stand back and stand by. We might need you.
Bringing the world to peace, and now we're going.
Yes, peace through pandemic. It's a play on the old system. If you'll notice, there were wars had really started to had slowed down. There was even trade battles went by the wayside because the whole fucking planet was locked down. Also, pink eye.
Going to complete the mission. The State Department, Pentagon, and National Security Establishment will be a very different place by the end of my administration. In fact,
we already saw the end of your administration. We've seen it. That's it. That was the end of your administration. There's no fucking way it happens again. Not ever. I'm just telling you. Run all you want. Push yourself to the front of the fucking party. Slaughter DeSantis. Shove yourself to the front of the line like last time. You're going to fucking lose. Biden's going to not only campaign in his basement, he's going to do it with his fucking feet up and a webcam just on the soles of his feet with "fuck Trump" written on each shoe. Thank you. Thanks for getting the ad time, guys.
My administration, it'll be a very different place, and it'll get things done just like I did 4 years ago. We
got everything done. We had COVID slowed everybody at the border, and COVID slowed down the war in Afghanistan. That could have gotten us out during COVID because our guys couldn't even train the Afghans. We could have used that as an excuse. We could have snuck out under the cover of COVID, but fuck that. I wanted to keep Bagram.
Never had it so good. We'll all.
Well, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you guys. Sure, we entered a recession in February of 2020. Sure, it was created by monetary policy on his behalf. And sure, it was because of his unpaid for tax cuts. Sure, he's responsible for almost a third of our entire national debt in one fucking term. Sure, he is the only negative job growth president in, I think, last 9. I don't know, how far do we go back? Sure.
Also stop the lobbyists and the big defense contractors from going in and pushing our senior military and national security officials toward conflict, only to reward them when they retire with lucrative jobs, getting paid millions and millions of dollars. Take a look at the globalist warmonger donors backing our opponents. That's because they're candidates of war.
I see. Yeah, that's what it is. The Democrats are all about war. Like, we can't fucking wait. We've run on war. We want war. We're always wanting to balloon the military budget. We're cranking that shit up all the time. All the time. It's been a thing for a long time. Democrats especially. It was, Bush, I don't know if you guys don't know this. Bush was like, I think we ought to go just into the camps of Afghanistan and not go any further. I don't think we should do that. And Democrats were like, no. Hit Iraq first. 7 other countries. Have you seen the Project for a New American Century? But yeah. I know it's a Republican organization, but we did the first draft for you. Yeah, they changed it a little bit. That's where the typos came from. But give this a read.
I am the president who delivers peace, and it's peace through strength.
How do you not give a lot of money to military contractors and defense contractors if that's your policy? You literally have to have the most enormous military. You have to outpace everybody else's military, period, end of story. So you have to, if it's peace through strength, you have to overwhelm everybody else. So you're just going to, the difference between him and, I guess, Democrats would be that he wants to balloon the military budget, but only with things we'll never use and that no one will get to use, even if they're allies or they're on our side, or we believe in helping them. That's our stick.
There was a reason we had no conflict. There was a reason we didn't get into wars, because other countries respected us. I entirely built, all right from the beginning, rebuilt our military.
Yeah, he totally rebuilt our military. How do you do that? Well, you pay big defense contractors a lot of money to build brand new shit, even if the old stuff works. I don't know. It sounds like military industrial complex to me. It sounds like they didn't even need a fucking war to make money when you were in there.
It's a big reason for that.
Yeah, it's a big reason for that.
They didn't want to mess around with the United States, and now they're laughing at us.
Well, they're laughing at you. I mean, obviously, he thinks America and him are the same, but...
We could end the Ukraine conflict in 24 hours with the right leadership. At the end of my next 4 years...
By the way, my next 4 years. Dude, at the end of your next 4 years, you'll be exactly where you are now. On a hard fade at Mar-a-Lago, blathering into a camera. You're not going to be president. That's not happening again. It's not fucking happening. It is not happening.
Here's the warmongers and frauds and...
Warmongerers. That's different. That's a different... The warmongerers. That's like, next he's got to say warmongrels. And then warmonchichis. I'm not sure.
Failures of the senior ranks of our government will all be gone, and we will have a new group of competent national security officials
who are hot and look like the chicks on like a first season of a new Law and Order show. And you know how I mean that.
Who believe in defending America's vital interests above all else.
Yeah, that's... One of the ways you would do that is effectively defeating Russia's military on the cheap, I would think. From a strategic standpoint, I don't think that's what's happening here. I think it's a secondary, it's an off-label use in terms of our support for Ukraine. It just so happens to do that, like the heart medication that became a boner pill. It's kind of like that. Ukraine has a Russia-induced heart attack. America gave it a pill to help with that, and it turns out everybody got their erection back. That's a terrible analogy. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
And you're not welcome. This is effectively his cliff notes of what was said at that stupid rally, and it's no mistake that it came out just after it, so they'll all be mentioning it. Everybody who's on one of those things, like, look, Trump must have watched. He obviously didn't learn anything, or he would have stole jokes from dead comedians and quoted MLK. That's it. And by the way, don't forget Cash only. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Trump puts these things up. Hold on, let me see. I don't think there's another one. Oh yeah, there is. Oh yeah, okay. So this is a thing they're trying. This is good. Agenda 47 is now going to be a thing. I like the sound of this. Whoopity-doo. And does he always make the same fucking face? Or do they just, nope, they're just thumbnailing all of them with the same picture. That's fascinating. So this is his plan to end crime and restore law and odors. Here we go. This is Agenda 47.
The education they're destroying.
Hold on.
Joe Biden.
What the fuck was that? Okay, here we go.
Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats.
Yeah, those aren't together. Biden didn't run on defund the police. He's actually raised funding, especially for training, while at the same time trying to get bad cops off. You can do both things. You know, you don't have to just. It's not all or nothing. He's a grown fucking person. He understands that. But I understand why he's trying to tag him to the defund the police thing.
Have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime.
That's not fair. West Palm Beach was never great. It was always a little weird.
There's never been anything like it.
Actually, there has. The 90s, the 70s, it was just the late 60s, early 50s. Don't get me started on prohibition.
Here's my plan to restore law and order.
Law and order. We're going to get your lawns in order. We're going to get everybody as much DDT as they want. One of those sprayers you can put on your back. And then if that doesn't work and your lawn dies anyways, we'll send you green paint.
In our cities and throughout our country, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, not just the cities, obviously. You don't want the big, like, the murder sprees just move to the sticks because the rent's cheaper.
First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training
too late.
for police officers nationwide. So important.
So important. I don't know. It's basically big government spending is my solution. Isn't that fascinating?
Bill will also increase vital liability protections for officers because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police.
Well, wouldn't you want to increase the liability protection if indeed that is taken away? Because it's not going to be.
Because we want them to do their jobs, and we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly.
No, thank you. That's apparently so something about doing their jobs. Gotcha.
Second, to qualify.
By the way, Slayer, BIPOC people is that's Black, Indigenous, people of color. You don't have to add people to the end of BIPOC. I'm just saying.
For this new funding and all other Justice Department grants, I will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common sense policing measures.
I see. So just in case you're just showing up now, this fading old fart is suggesting that the federal government override community standards throughout the nation in regards to policing and law enforcement in general. That's right. So small government conservatism, ladies and gentlemen. This is the federal government will now dictate not only what your officers do, but how they do it. That's right. Because, you want a government that's small and, so small it can fit in your rectum, apparently.
Such as stop and frisk. Very simple.
Yes, we're just going to stop and frisk every American 4 times a day, unless they're one of those that like it, in which case we're not going to do it. We're not here. You're not going to enjoy, little, you're not. That's, the cops will be able to, their liability, they will liable to not enjoy it. And if you're getting too much enjoyment out of the frisk, then you will be fined, especially if you're damn fine. We'll have stop and grab them by the pussy is the new.
You stop them and you frisk them. Strictly.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. See, I was. You know what it was? It was a syntax thing. I was always trying to frisk him on the move. You know what I mean? Where you're like, hey, what are you doing? Come back here. Quit it. Everybody going to quit it. I'm not carrying. Yes, it's stop and frisk, not grope and walk. This is not what we're doing. Stop. Hey, watch it. Come, wait till I slow down. Shit, my arms are full of groceries. Oh, they are they? Whoa. It's very simple. You stop them, then you frisk them. What are you guys doing? Oh, what an asshole.
Reinforcing existing gun laws against convicted felons, cracking down on the open use of illegal drugs, and
cracking down on the open use of illegal drugs. If you do it in private, apparently he doesn't give a fuck. Apparently, suck up all the fentanyl you want as long as you close the drapes, I guess. But if you do it in front of a giant, in front of French doors, what's wrong with you?
Operating with ICE to get criminal aliens off our streets and get them out of our country. Third, we will.
Well, I would hope so, because you can't just keep. I don't know how you manage to keep them floating in the air if they're off the streets.
We'll go after the radical Marxist prosecutors who are abolishing cash bail, refusing to charge crimes, and surrendering our cities.
Well, I do think it's bad that you are obviously guilty of a myriad of financial crimes, especially if not sexual assault crimes, and yet you just seem to goose through. I mean, look at Matt Gaetz. I mean, they're not going to end up charging him and stuff. We're bridges are being built. I couldn't be more in agreement.
The violent criminals, they have surrendered like never before.
They don't surrender. They usually, this is too much surrendering. Sometimes a little surrender is good, I'm an awful person, so I don't like Cheap Trick, but some people do. Little.
I will direct the DOJ to open civil rights investigations into radical left prosecutors' offices, such as those in Chicago, LA, and San Francisco, to determine whether they have illegally engaged in race-based enforcement of the law. I will.
I'm listening to him, and the phrase sounds familiar, but I feel like he means like just the opposite. If they are not prosecuting people because they are black, that is race-based prosecution, not prosecution. They are not throwing enough black people in jail. That's what he means.
We'll also work with Congress to give the victims of their Marxist policies the right to sue local officials for harm and suffering, and it has been great that they have caused.
It's great that they're causing suffering? I don't think so. I think it's pretty awful. I don't know.
If your small business is pillaged because shoplifting goes unpunished, if you're brutally attacked by a violent felon released without bail or bond, then you will be entitled to massive damages.
Phone right now. Dial the number on your screen. Have you been attacked by someone that shouldn't have attacked you? Have you been kleptomaniacked in the middle of your day? Have you been stopped and frisked or not stopped while being frisked? Well, call now to Trump and Trump attorneys at litigation. I don't technically have a license, but it doesn't matter. Haba, haba, haba.
Fourth, I will order the Department of Justice, or some people call it the Department of Injustice right now.
Yeah, they do. Some people call it that. By some people, I mean me and a couple of assholes I hang out with.
And Homeland Security dismantle every gang, street crew, and drug network in America.
Yeah. Yeah, because they haven't really been trying to do that. It's weird. They dismantle them. What are you going to do? Take out their ball bearings? What do you mean? Kneecap them? How do you do that? What does that mean precisely? Because I'm guessing that's an ongoing endeavor.
every single one of them will be dismantled.
That's right. We're gonna sell them for parts. All these little kids selling drugs on the corner, all the way up to the dealers in Juarez. I'm gonna get them all, and we're gonna sell their kidneys on the black market. We're gonna dismantle all of them. We're gonna glue them back together in different shapes. See what kind of. We're gonna get CRISPR-Cas9 and experiment with their cells.
We already know where these turf wars and drug dens are. We know who the people are. And we're going to.
Well, why don't you handle it now? I mean, don't you know a bunch of people in law enforcement? We know who the people are. Well, yeah, of course, because your son, got a bunch of them on speed dial. We get that.
To charge them and charge the culprits with every crime that we can find.
And if we can't find any, we'll make some up. I mean, the whole point is to dismantle them. We'll charge them with wanton lack of dismantlement.
We're going to be fair, but we're going to be tough. We also need the death penalty for drug dealers.
We're gonna be fair but tough. Also, drug dealers, death penalty. Yeah, just pretty straight ahead there. Just quick trial and just kill him. Wait, that was the wrong guy. That was Michael R. Smith. You're looking for Michael J. Smith. Shit. Well, better luck next time.
Important. And I'd add to that human traffickers, drug dealers and human traffickers.
We're going to, and human traffickers, drug dealers, and people who talk loudly in restaurants. We're going to, death penalty for those people. People who use up all the ketchup, and then when you want to squirt it on the walls, the dispenser is empty. People who stick their balls in the omelet bar at Mar-a-Lago, death penalty.
They get the death penalty. Watch it stop and stop quickly.
Yeah, by the way, you notice that, the Philippines still has a drug problem? It's amazing. Did it stop? It just doesn't, can't find drugs there anymore? No. Even though they line people up and just shoot them. Still, somehow.
Fifth, in cities where there has been a complete
Thank you, Tobias.
breakdown of law and order.
Okay, only the cities where there's been a complete breakdown of law and order. If it's partial or sketchy or you're worried about it, that's not enough. The whole thing has to fall apart. Judges masturbating on briefs, the lawyers stabbing each other and having a contest of blood and steel to determine who wins a case. Basically anything you'd see in kind of, with the Duke of New York in Escape from New York. You're the Duke, number one. You're the Duke. Until it gets to that point, we can't help you. But once it all completely collapses into full-on Walking Dead, that's it.
Where the fundamental right of our citizens are being intolerably violated.
Yeah, you mean the right to not have to be stopped and frisked if you haven't done anything? That right? No, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
I will not hesitate to send in federal assets, including the National Guard, until safe.
National Guard isn't a federal asset. It's a state asset that marshals with the federal government and coordinates it. You have to ask the governor. You have to hesitate. As a matter of fact, you can only do it if the governor says okay. By the way, and if he ever got that passed, if he ever, let's follow this fantasy train. Republicans, I know some of you are there. Come here, gather in close, scoot on up wherever the fuck you are at the shooting range or waiting for your fentanyl supplier to show up. If he ever was able to do that, the federal government would have absolute military power over the states. You do know that, right? You are aware that what he's asking for is the ability to sic the military on any state for any purpose he wants by presidential fiat. You recognize that's what he's suggesting, right? You do know that's what this is. Just like you know that getting out of Afghanistan and staying in Bagram forever are mutually exclusive concepts. There's no such fucking thing where those overlap. All right.
Safety is restored. If Nancy Pelosi would have accepted our National Guard or our soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th. But she and the mayor of D.C. didn't do that.
Well, that's because they didn't expect you to march up there. They just thought it was going to be a rally, and they didn't, they didn't think there'd be a coordinated thing where you'd say, we're going to walk down there, because you took that out of the speech. Because if you'd have said it, you would have had to get a permit, and they would have known that you were going to do this, and they would have accepted more police surrounding the place, which is why he took it out. Let's be abundantly clear. Trump had a statement saying, I'm going to walk down there with you, and we're all going to go down to the Capitol and show these people what we mean business, whatever the fuck he was going to say. And he had it in the speech. And then somebody said, if it's in the speech, you're going to let them know that you're on your way. And that will change the security at the Capitol. You have a better chance of making it in and stopping the counting and inserting your own electors and violently assaulting other people if they don't know you're coming. So take that part out. You can say it on stage at the last second. Then, because you're president, tell your Secret Service guys, fuck this, we're going to the Capitol. And they have to listen because you're the president. Trust me. That was the argument. That was the conversation he had with John Eastman. Eastman was the one who basically said, if you do this, we're going to have to get a permit for the march, and they'll know you're coming.
Sixth, we will end the leftist takeover of school discipline and juvenile justice.
Thank God.
Many of these carjackers and criminals are 13, 14, and 15 years old.
And if they're old enough to fuck, they're old enough to go to jail. That's what Eric says. I mean, what?
I will order the education and justice departments to overhaul federal standards on disciplining minors. So,
all right. For all the pedo conversation that they have about Democrats and the like, there has always been a fundamental parallel between those that want to try children as adults and those that want to fuck them. Because if you can make a lifelong decision at 11 years old that can get you a prison sentence for the rest of your life, who's to say you can't decide you want to have sex with an adult? So that they chase this shit all the time. And for the record, that's one of my reasons, if not my single biggest reason, other than the cruelty of it overall, that you don't try minors as adults. Because A, they're not. And B, once you start doing that, there is a slippery slope to all the other things that you believe children can make adult decisions about. And that's not cool. I'm just saying that this kind of change in the law would really let Matt Gaetz off the hook, don't you think? Thank you, Peter and Tobias.
When troubled youth are out in control, they're out on the streets, and they're going wild.
When they're going wild, wild in the city, wild in the city.
We will stop it. The consequences are swift, certain, and strong, and they will...
That's right. We're just going to snuff 14-year-olds as a lesson to the other ones.
Know that. Seventh, I will protect the right.
Also, what the fuck do you mean? Life in prison for a 14-year-old carjacker? What do you think? Is that what we're talking about? I think that's what we're talking about. And what if the kid's dealing drugs? Huh? How about that? Death penalty for drug dealers. And if a 15-year-old is dealing in drugs, and we know that like gangs and cartels will often use minors as the front person for it, selling it on the street because they get out sooner. So Trump is basically just setting up a situation where America will have what? How many? 300 like 14-year-olds on death row? Right? How does that not happen? How does that not occur? Anybody? Right.
Right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. In addition, I will, of course, fully secure...
Yeah, it does. Every district can have, the federal government cannot put limitations infringing upon the right to bear arms. But the states themselves can limit what kind of arms are available in that state or what they're okay with. Just like helmet laws, man. They can decide, okay, we've got an assault weapons ban, but they let you have whatever the fuck. But if you bring it over here, you're going to jail. Been around forever. There were plenty of cities in the Old West where you had to check your gun at the sheriff's office when you came to town. And it was completely constitutional. It was understood. It was the only way fucking society could function. And they used the well-regulated militia aspect of that you have to drop your gun off at the armory. And they give you a little fucking coat check for it. And if you leave town, come get your gun back. And if a fight breaks out because the Comanche decide to slaughter everybody that weekend, come down to the sheriff's office and guess what, motherfucker? You're deputized. You're now, a frontier fighter. That's how it worked, and it was completely constitutional. And the founding fathers would have been 100% fine with it.
The border, dramatically increase interior enforcement, and wage war on the cartels. We have never had a border so secure as it was just 2 years ago. And
well, yeah, but you can't have a pandemic all the time.
Now our border is the worst anywhere in the world.
Also, I mean, then the wall has to share the blame. Again, I don't know how it's possible that the wall made it worse, but it did.
And possibly of all time.
Yes, the worst border, even before there were borders. The worst border, I don't know. I'd have to go all the way back to lava coming down Pompeii, like there was just no line you could draw.
There's never been a country that allowed to happen what's happening in the United States right now with millions.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there is. I mean, again, as soon as he announced his withdrawal plan, which he was never going to follow through for, we know this. But once they allowed the Taliban to start taking over and he busted out those 5,000 fighters and put Abdul back in charge, refugees all over Afghanistan started flooding into Pakistan and Iran. You know what Iran and Pakistan did about it? They fucking shrugged because it's not even roads half the places they're crossing.
Millions of people are pouring across our borders.
Yes, the cartels have built slip and slides, and they just water slides getting up there, and they're coming in bathing suits and they're exclaiming happily in Spanish. It's terrifying.
They come from mental institutions.
Well, I mean, they're crazy.
They come from the prisons. They're all being let out so they can come into the United States.
Again, what's the strategy here? Does anybody know? How does this work? I mean, we've been through the prison part before, where apparently Guatemala and Honduras and I don't know, fucking Brazil, Argentina, they're letting out all their Ted Bundys, and they're saying, hey, start walking to America, and don't do any Ted Bundying until you cross the border. Till you get in the United States, keep your Ted Bundy desires in check. I know, it's hard to get people into your van when you don't speak English or whatever, and it'd be a lot easier if you just kind of split off from the pack in Mexico and continued to Ted Bundy all throughout Mexico. But don't do it. Wait till you get to America. And by the way, here's a bag of fentanyl. Yeah, you don't have to carry it across. There's an American who will meet you, and he'll take it across for you. That part, a little hinky. I don't know how that actually works. But let's go a little bit further. Insane people. Criminally violent, insane people. Just schizophrenic, screaming at the sky, stabby stab. And those people they're just opening the doors like Reagan in the late 80s to their mental institutions. And do they herd them? Do they give them skateboards? How the fuck do they get up here? Who are they busing the psychos up? Do they give them a scooter? Anybody know how I mean, obviously, the further away they start, the bigger an issue it becomes because, sure, they might be fine the first mile and a half, but after a while, they're going to decide, I'm a bird, and climb a tree and then fall out and die. How are you going to make sure they get there? I mean, I know they're dumping them into the country, but how?
They're poisoning our country.
Well, okay, that obviously, maybe a fentanyl reference, or maybe just that certain people are poison, like the woman that Alice Cooper warned us about.
We will also take back our streets from the homeless, the drug addicted,
and I believe Belle Biv DeVoe, same girl,
mentally ill. I will discuss those plans in much more detail very soon.
Great. Couple of weeks. Guys, that was my bad. I thought there was going to be a real plan. I'm always 2 weeks ahead. That's how I live, Carlin once said, I'm a man ahead of my time. Problem is I'm only about 5 minutes ahead, so it's not enough to get anything done. I'm about 2 weeks ahead of my time. Which is interesting because most people are behind the times. So I've got even more of a head start. It's hard to measure. The important thing is that put your pens down. I know. I'm upset too. Just I don't know. You'll have time to buy a whole new notebook because I'm sure you'll need all the room in it. Maybe we just have him dictate it directly into something and print it out. Yeah, so, but it's all, the details are coming. But all you need to know right now is 400 13-year-olds on death row. That's pretty much the takeaway. We good? Cool.
That is how I will bring back public safety to America. I want to thank you. We're going to make America great again, and we're going to make America safe again. Thank you.
Well, it's nice that he wanted to thank us, and then he did at the end. I think that it's an important distinction. And weird that they wrote rum right over his face, like he's drunk, and that's why his eye is fucked up. He's becoming Herbert Lom, in the Pink Panther. I'm cracking up. I'll kill him. I'm losing it. I've only had a chicken leg and some clear broth since Wednesday. Clouseau. Yeah, so that's the two slices out of there. Now, hi, chat room. How are you? Hold on one second. Hello. You guys you're good people. It's nice to see you. This is Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe on Twitch if it encouraged you as a good thing to do, and gift a sub like Shadow Woman is doing right now. Thank you so much. Get us in that old hype train. Fire it up. Let's do something. Let's make this show a real big show. I'm doing, again, I've been building this race car on the track, and by God, we're making good time. I'm just saying, don't make me pull this race car over. Of course, there's a myriad of ways to support the show. Patreon.com/HalSparks. You'll be able to do it year round if you don't like doing stuff monthly. Super chats and all that kind of stuff. There you go. I suck at asking people to do this. Chud's fine. She's good. But she will starve to death unless you help the show. No, sorry. Anyways, yeah. So let's... there are... Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and germs, ladies and germains, ladies and germains, there are confused and angry people like the Rep MTGs of the world. There are simply confused and mildly annoyed people like Trump, who never seems to give as much of a fuck about stuff as his followers do, because he doesn't actually at all. That's just a pretense. And then there's the most miserable man on the internet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Raymond G. Kelly, Greg Kelly, current son of the former police commissioner of New York, which really helps, I hear, having a police commissioner for a dad if you have a sexual assault charge against you. I've heard that, I'm just saying, there's an upside, apparently. Sometimes, Greg has moments, which we all get to enjoy, where he's just angry. Just angry for, somebody sat in his chair in his office without permission. Sean Spicer, he's got your number. And sometimes he's just can't believe Trump's not president anymore. We get that a lot. And then sometimes he sees something that the rest of us don't see. He uses the long stare that he got in local San Diego news. This is one of those videos. Greg Kelly, Biden's Ukraine trip has me suspicious. We can't go on together with suspicious minds. I'm sorry, Greg. This might be the... I'm sorry, Greg, to say this to you, but... Caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I know you too much, baby. All right. I got to quit that before I turn into Nicolas Cage. All right. This is Greg Kelly. Biden's Ukraine trip has me the suspicions. Yes, it's the suspicions. He looks very concerned. He looks very worried. These guys are having too much fun, and it upsets him. Something is going on. Something doesn't smell right, and I think it's my pants.
Joe Biden in Ukraine. Wow.
Wow, what the...
This was a surprise.
Well, it's a surprise. Trump would only go to a war zone under the dead of night to throw turkey legs at the troops and then bug out before the sun came up.
First reported by Newsmax, by the way. We got a tip.
We got a tip, yes. You got just the tip. And this was by no means first reported by Newsmax. Shut the fuck up.
Chris Ruddy reported it. And all day long, I've been hearing from the fake news how beautiful this moment was, how Churchillian, how Putin can take that, because this is happening. Actually, for me,
I don't know. I think it's a green screen. I don't know. I was thinking about this on the bus ride in here today. I was thinking to myself, is that gum?
It got me suspicious.
Anything good that doesn't benefit me directly, something's going on. I'm just...
All right, and it got me kind of annoyed.
Well, so basically you've checked off both emotions you have for the day. It's like Greg Kelly has like a clip, like a to-do list of feelings which only have two things. Suspicion and annoyance. Done and fucking done. It's Miller time.
Look, I want Ukraine to win this thing, but I am frustrated about the money that's been spent so far.
I'm very frustrated about it. So, yeah,
more on that in a moment.
Yes. Did you just say moron? Yeah, I know. You can't talk about yourself without it slipping out. It's weird. It's like a Freudian internal slip.
And seeing Joe Biden over there again reminds me of his entanglements with that country.
I don't know. It doesn't remind you of Trump's entanglements with the other country that actually attacked this fucking country? Also, pretty sure that's not a picture taken in Ukraine or whatever. I don't know why the random watermark.
Hunter, remember, Hunter had a no-show job in Ukraine.
No, he didn't. He showed up. He had to show. He showed. He was there a lot. The question wasn't, was he there? The question was he qualified to know what was necessary in the job? Still didn't matter because he was an investment broker on behalf with three other guys, and they were there basically shepherding money, making sure it got spent where it was supposed to get spent. So you show up, you go, here's your, $1 billion from these investors, and you got to spend it on this, this, and this. Pipelines, a refinery, and employees. And then we want to see the books, and then you're going to drive us down, and we're going to see the fucking pipeline, and we're going to see the refinery, and we're going to see the actual employees, and we got a translator of our own, and we've got another person we're bringing down there with us, and they have to sign off on it for us to tell our investors they should send you the next check. That's how it works.
For about $130,000 a month. If I know that, you know that. Zelensky definitely knows that. More on the potential corruption in the moment.
Yes, potential corruption. It's only been 3 fucking years. And also, again, I will make this case, and nobody on the other side has ever taken me up on this particular challenge, but gun to your head, your life savings and your family's life savings and everything you have, you must invest it in Burisma. But you have a choice. You invest it before Hunter Biden shows up or after Hunter Biden shows up. Honest answer. Honest answer. After. You know why? Because you're going to get a return on your investment. Before Hunter Biden, your money's going to get siphoned to fucking Russia, and you're never going to hear from it. You're never going to see a dime of it again.
But first, here's a little bit of Joe today, and here's another reason to not be impressed.
If you know what I mean.
Unchecked aggression is a threat to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We build a coalition of nations from the Atlantic to the Pacific. NATO in the Atlantic, Japan in the Pacific. I mean, across the world. The number of nations stood up over 50. Help Ukraine defend itself.
A little rough there, as usual.
And God bless the United States. At least his dentures stayed in his mouth, Greg.
Well, can't blame the jet lag. He does that here. So far, the United States, we estimate 196 billion.
Notice how this estimate goes up all the fucking time? By the way, you know how they get this number? You know how 101 billion becomes 196? Okay. When the money is allocated, it was 2 blocks of like 47 and 44 earlier last year. When that money is allocated, it is established that there will it'll be in cash assistance specifically, or it will be in terms of gear, stuff. That stuff takes time. It takes time to get, to ship it over there or bring it from one of the bases in Germany or something like that. And when that happens, that $4 billion worth of stuff has to be signed off on. That $4 billion is from the original allocation. But the $4 billion that's right in front of you have to go, yes, that went out the door. So what these guys do is they take the bill and the receipt and they call it 2 different numbers, add them up, and double everything. They've been doing it fucking since June of last year.
$1 billion? Can it be that high? Really? That's
no. You added 94 billion.
And Joe doesn't seem to understand, and too many members of Congress, they don't seem to understand that this is not their money. This is our money. And I don't think we've had a sufficient national conversation. It's been a one-way conversation, right? This money will go. I want Ukraine to win. Yeah.
Nice picture you had on there, Greg. What the fuck was that? The fuck was that, Greg? You just... What, did those guys just get hit with a grenade and they just died on your fucking show? Next to 196 billion? So the idea is that...
It's been a one-way conversation, right? This money will go. I want Ukraine to win, yeah. But this is getting a little bit out of hand, potentially. Joe wrote a nice little note for the world, reminding everybody how many times he's been to Kiev, which has captured a part of my heart. I knew I would be back. Well, it was Hunter Biden's place of employment, and I think you went back for a lot of reasons. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it could be. It just, you probably just went back there to erase some videotapes that prove that you were on a stand at the fucking, I think the CFR stage, talking about how Obama and the Congress and the entire European Union were counting on you to get this prosecutor fired because he would not go after the Russian corruption in Ukraine that was undermining all their business and all their legal systems. And you went in and got it done. You were proud of it and you said it out loud. You were chuffed about it. But, it was a big secret. And you got caught on tape on stage with a mic in your hand talking to a large group of people. Yeah.
But hey, the fake news all day long swooning about this trip.
President Biden already on the move, headed to Poland as we speak, following that unannounced and unprecedented visit to Ukraine.
Look at this. Fake news loves to overhype every situation. You know that phrase, it's not every day that the president goes to Kiev in the middle of a war where he could actually be in mortal danger, right? Well, apparently, no. Apparently, it's something you do have. And they're just overhyped. It's just regular. This is regular day-to-day. Trump would have done this in Moscow.
A very encouraging visit and almost an unprecedented one.
A truly unprecedented trip happening now in Ukraine.
President Biden's unprecedented trip to Ukraine comes just one day before a high-stakes speech by Russia's President Vladimir Putin.
I don't know what's so unprecedented about it.
Well, I don't know. Go back to the last president that went to a capital that was currently under siege and was blaring air raid sirens. What was the last president that was there during open hostilities?
Presidents have been to war zones before.
Uh-huh. Yes, they certainly have. In claimed territory of our own. Hi, chat room. I'm just opening. Yeah, they have. You know who hasn't?
President Trump went to not only Iraq, but he also went to Afghanistan as president of the United States.
Under the cover of night and left before dawn, staying inside a bunker the entire time.
George W. Bush went to Iraq. Remember when he fed turkey to the troops? And
same thing. On our base, never left the base.
Also went back a few years later and had a shoe thrown at him during a press conference. This is what American leaders do when we're at war. Richard Nixon visited Vietnam. He actually went to Vietnam in the middle of the war, South Vietnam. Look.
Yes, South Vietnam. By the way, I don't know if you know this, North Vietnam, not a lot of long-range missiles in the arsenal of the North Vietnamese at that time.
I know what they're saying. No president has gone to a war zone where we weren't fighting the war. And that actually kind of makes sense, right? I mean, it really does. So why did Joe...
Yeah. I mean, it's just allies. Fuck them, right?
...go to Ukraine?
To show solidarity and to prove to Putin, call Putin's bluff, and also to put pressure on China, quite frankly, because there was this idea that China was thinking about providing arms to Russia, and this made them back down from that.
Let's point out where he's not going, of course, the southern border.
That's right. Biden has not been to the southern border. Although I will say Trump has been there several times. Ted Cruz goes all the time. Congressional Republicans are there all the fucking time. And it sucks. It's getting worse. Maybe the problem is too many politicians going to the southern border. Maybe that. Trump's been there a bunch. Didn't solve it. No? Isn't that weird?
Who wants to go there? I mean... There's no money to be made there, but...
Sure there is. I mean, the cartels are making billions. Are you out of your mind? I thought they were paying Democrats to get them in there, and we were all getting a cut of the coyote money, right? Isn't that the myth?
There are potentially a lot of votes coming in. Let's see, what else is Joe Biden?
Not according to Trump.
Biden blowing off. East Palestine, Ohio.
Steen. All right. Steen.
That's not a cool place for Joe to be, and I think there's very little potential for profit or payback.
Well, there certainly is for the people of East Palestine, according to Governor Sawine and Trump. Although, is that why? So the only reason to go there is for, is to have it help you politically or for a little bit of scratch? So that's why Trump is going tomorrow?
The border. How about Hunter Biden? Has he ever been to the... No, that's not a place that would interest him either. And same.
Why not? I thought it was all drugs and human trafficking. Aren't you guys convinced that he was? I would think it would be a perfect place for Hunter Biden, according to you guys, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm surprised he's not in some of those shots, aren't you?
Same goes for East Palestine.
Greg, when are you going? Are you doing a special report from there when Trump goes? No, not worth it. It's a giant story, Greg. It's a giant story.
But when it comes to Ukraine, Joe and Hunter get dressed up for Ukraine. You know, I watched Zelensky
The president often wears a suit. I don't know if you know.
and Joe Biden walk around today. And, you know, let's face it, Zelensky, he knows things about Joe Biden. He does. The whole country.
Does he?
The whole world knows.
Yes, he knows he can count on him. He knows he doesn't take a bunch of shit. He knows that he's a man of his word.
Those who are willing to see the truth.
Yes, what truth would that be, Greg?
Donald Trump actually told Zelensky, didn't have to tell him. Zelensky actually already knew. Now, it's ancient history now, but the first impeachment. Do you remember? Donald Trump was impeached twice. The first impeachment.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Was about that phone call between President Trump and Zelensky.
Right, where he was holding back military aid to try and get him to create a phony investigation so he could have another Comey moment because the laptop was shit. That wasn't helping. So, yeah, I remember.
Here's some passages, and it's kind of fascinating looking back at it now. President Zelensky, on all of Donald Trump's observations about what was happening between the two countries, yes, you are absolutely right. Not only 100%, but actually 1,000%. Now Trump lays this on him. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution. So if you can look into it, it sounds horrible to me. Everyone overlooks this.
You think he's gonna put the part in where Rudy Giuliani will come over and tell you what they need?
Zelensky's reaction to that. I wanted to tell you about the prosecutor. First of all, I understand and am knowledgeable. I'm knowledgeable about the situation. The situation involving Hunter.
No, the situation involving that prosecutor.
Joe, and yes, Joe Biden was running around bragging about having that prosecutor fired.
Right. Yeah, Council on Foreign Relations. Of course he was. Again, Greg is kind of screwing the pooch here because remember when they started floating this video was like, he's caught on video. They caught him on video bragging that he got rid of the prosecutor. They caught him. It's like it was a fucking hot mic. They were literally going back over his successes in foreign policy.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Joe is compromised.
Joe is compromised by Barack Obama and the will of the Congress and the entire EU. Because he helped them get what they wanted and what was also right for the country.
Our friends and allies, he's compromised in Ukraine and in China.
Again, how are you if you're compromised? Look, compromise means you can be blackmailed is the point. They've got something on you. Nobody fucking has anything on you if you brag about it in public. If you do not do what we say, we will tell people you fuck animals. Here is video of you fucking animals. Hey, that's cool. Can I post that on my BitChute? I just got these goat fucker shirts made that I'm going to wear on tour next year. Like, oh, shit. Can we get some real compromat on this fucker? If everybody knows, it's over. Literally, what leverage is there if we all know Hunter Biden was smoked crack and fucked hookers and smoked in the bathtub? He smoked in the bathtub. Oh, God. Bathtub smoking. I mean, it's one thing. It's like when you're watching Mindhunter and it says violence, gore, foul language, smoking. I love that. At the end, they just put on smoke. Oh, shit. You can carve a person to pieces and show me it, but God damn it. Is that a cool 100? What the fuck?
Absolutely. President Xi, he knows what we know. You know,
well, if we know it and he knows it, how do you blackmail anybody with that? Nobody gives a fuck. I'm dead serious. How do you blackmail someone with common knowledge? Right? What is that? obviously, we still haven't heard a definitive answer on the pee-pee tape. Maybe that's something to be concerned about. But, like, the contents of Hunter's laptop, the hard drive, it's been around for 3 fucking years now. If the leverage hasn't worked, it's not gonna. I'm gonna release these pictures of your wife fucking somebody if you don't give me $10,000. I'll give you 2 because I want to post them myself. Those are good shots. What? Yeah, I'll pay you. I'll buy the shots off you though, but I'm gonna put them up. What do you mean you're gonna put them up? That's our thing. That's what we're into. You're what? Yeah, we have an open relationship and stuff, and she's got her own OnlyFans and that kind of stuff, and so I mean she's gonna love these. She's gonna love them. Fuck. I am world worst compromat guy. This is suck.
Fake news can discount all of these reports from the Republicans on Capitol Hill. Oh, the Republicans are Republicans.
The Republicans are Republicans.
They know what's going on. And President Xi is playing footsie now with Vladimir Putin.
I see. They're playing footsie, are they? I'm from the looks of it, it looks like Xi is trying to get his big toe in Putin's bum.
Yes, very much so. President Xi just might get...
America is not taken seriously under Biden administration, is what they say. Yeah. As Joe Biden would say, good luck in your senior year, guys.
Give weapons to Russia in its current situation. What are we going to do about it? Apparently not too much because, well, Joe and Hunter are compromised. China...
All right. Hold on. Let's see. China, weapons to Russia. And by the way, if China felt okay with this and he was just compromised and they could get away with it, why didn't they do it last year when Russia might have still had a fucking chance? Let's see. What would a compromised country do? If the president is like, shit, my son is compromised. People are going to find out he smokes in the bathtub unless I give these animals what they need to murder tens of thousands of people. It's a tough choice. Let people know my son smokes in the bathtub and sometimes wears a jean vest and underwear in funny pictures. Or let Putin kill tens of thousands of people. God damn it! This is the kind of choices that are in front of you when you're president. You know, they say this or whatever. I don't know let's see. I guess. Well, what am I? I guess I just gotta kiss China's ass and tell them please don't. Oh. U.S. warns China not to send weapons to Russia for Ukraine war. U.S. intelligence suggests China is considering, well, they're considering it. So thank God it's a news story. Providing arms and ammunition to Russia, but they're in trouble. But their shit is poorly constructed already. They're worried that they send Chinese stuff, it'll work even worse. An involvement in the Kremlin's war effort that would be a serious problem, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said. Blinken said the United States long has been concerned that China would provide weapons to Russia. He pointed to Chinese leader Xi Jinping's promise to President Vladimir Putin of a partnership with no limits, which of course they were major limits on immediately afterwards, when they just met weeks before Putin sent his troops into Ukraine February 24th, 2022. Since then, ties between the two countries have only grown stronger. It's debatable. We've been watching this very, very closely, and for the most part, China's been engaged in providing rhetorical, political, and diplomatic support to Russia, but we have information that gives us concern that they're considering providing lethal support to Russia in the war against Ukraine. Blinken said in an interview that aired Sunday, it is important that for me to share very clearly with Wang Yi that this would be a very serious problem. With Putin determined to show some progress on the battlefield as the war nears the 1 year mark, Russian forces have been on the offensive in eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainians are holding very strong. The Russians are suffering horrific losses in this effort, Blinken said, estimating that Russia has lost 97% of its ground troops in Ukraine. The Russians are eager to capture new territory before Ukraine receives more advanced weapons, recently pledged by the U.S. and its European allies. But what Secretary Blinken said is big news to me. Lindsey Graham said, The world should come down hard on China if it provides lethal weapons to Russia, and he advised Chinese leaders not to do anything rash. To the Chinese, if you jump on the Putin train now, you're dumber than dirt. It'd be like buying a ticket on the Titanic after you saw the movie. Don't do this. Movie was put out almost 100 years after the boat went down. So, I mean, you'd need scuba gear and a diving bell. I get what he's saying, though. Tensions, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas also expressed her concern about an effort by the Chinese to arm Russia, saying that would be a red line. There you go. And I'm sure, they said that, and Biden immediately called them in and said, guys, what are you doing? They're gonna post pictures of my son smoking in the bathtub. And then they'll find out about my third house. The cottage, the little one, that most Canadians on a middle income salary can afford. Yeah. It's got 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. Don't you understand? All right, here we go.
And ask Mr. Bobolinsky, all right? All the stuff.
Yeah, ask Mr. Booey. Ask Bobolinsky. Yeah, Bobolinsky, by the way, is the fucking guy who dreamt up all these, like, hey, we can make some money. My partner Hunter over here will introduce you to his dad and grease the wheels. And then Hunter's like, we can't do that. And Bobolinsky gets fired. And then he's like, look, it says 10% for the big guy. Who wrote that? I did. They didn't take it? That money didn't get... No, but it says 10% for the big guy. That wasn't... Hunter didn't ask for that? No, he didn't. I wrote that. I offered 10... I said, of course, there would be 10% for the big guy. I wrote that. So Hunter didn't actually write that. No, I'm just saying I wrote that. He didn't say, fuck you, until they fired me like 2 days later. But still...
that they were doing over there, 10% for the big guy.
Right.
So the balloon.
Yeah, the balloon. Obviously.
Goes right across the country, and
they made this graphic, and God damn it, they're going to use it.
Allow it to happen. It's a pretty big deal. So we're really...
That's right. It was able to see all the secret sites in part of Tennessee.
Going to call him out on it, right? Not really, because, well, of Joe's entanglements. He's not representing us. He's not in the clear. He's not, despite what he told Hunter that time. Look.
All right. By the way, he was talking about Hunter being in the clear from a story because they were all up in his ass about it. And he was like, I think you're good. The story came out. I've seen it. You don't look like the bad guy in this. They know it's legit. You're fine. And I love you and good night. Like, a father call, which, by the way, something Greg has never experienced, something Trump has never, a call Trump has never made.
Look at the Secretary of State. Now, this is a moment. He came face to face with the Chinese. And this...
Really? Oh, my God. What do they look like? They smell funny? Do they have flippers? Face to face, saw one of them. Jesus Christ, without their hoods on?
This is how he handled the overall situation with the balloon, weapons to Ukraine potentially. Just listen to this.
Yeah, this whole State Department thing.
I made very clear to him that China sending a surveillance balloon over the United States in violation of our sovereignty, in violation of international law, was unacceptable and must never happen again. I told him quite simply that that was unacceptable and can never happen again. That action was unacceptable and must never happen again.
There isn't a person in the world who wouldn't be tempted to defy this man. I have a feeling that's about as much force as he delivered the message in person, right?
Okay, first of all, fucko. He's speaking in English and it ends up being translated into Chinese. Secondly, it doesn't matter if he shouts it or he fucking whispers it. He's the representative of the administration and the U.S. government. If he says it, it's because he's been cleared to say it. He could fucking sing it and it would still have the same impact. You cretin.
That's it. That's what he's got. Remember about this guy, the Secretary of State. He was in business with Joe Biden. That phony baloney Biden Penn Center where they found all the secret documents. You see the guy with them looking on longingly at Joe Biden? That's Tony Blinken.
Right. Yes, he has. Greg, let me introduce you to a concept that it's probably new to you, Greg, and I understand this you might want to sit down in your chair if Sean Spicer isn't stealing it, if he isn't bogarting your easy chair in your office again. Biden and people like him have long-term bonds and trust with people they've worked with before. They do not hop from place to place, jettisoning people along the way because everybody they hired and worked with turns out to be an incompetent asshole that they then blame for their own failures, and then they gather a new crowd so they can lay the blame again once their fuck-ups come to fruition, like your surrogate father, Donald Trump.
More weakness from the Secretary of State. Where is Henry Kissinger or Al Haig?
What I can also tell you is this was an opportunity to speak very clearly and very directly about the fact that China sent a surveillance balloon over our territory.
Is the State Department working on a genocide determination?
We will, as always, look at every legal possibility when it comes to going after the atrocities that Russia is committing.
What else would you describe?
Look at this fucking crossfade that they're oh God, they're trying to water down the entire conversation. Let's pick out the stuff where he tries to speak diplomatically, because by the way, he didn't get to make this decision. He once he says this as the Secretary of State, that carries weight. So he doesn't walk flippantly into this shit, and Pompeo wouldn't do it either. Why don't you play the Manafort stuff about he doesn't have any business dealings in Russia, and that's what our position is.
As lethal assistance that wasn't weapons.
Again, I'll let the information that we have and that we're sharing speak for itself.
I will assume you got no apology.
Again, don't want to characterize what he said, but finally, you're correct. I underscore the importance of having direct.
What a weird fucking montage.
Lines of communication. The importance of continuing to engage in diplomacy between our countries.
Does that mean their defense minister will pick up the next phone call from Secretary Austin instead of refusing it?
Well, it's one of the things that we talked about, the importance of having lines of communication.
The importance of having telephones and picking up those phones. I had a 7th grade social studies teacher that looked very much like this guy in my...
Jesus Christ. And I still got a grudge against him because he gave me an F- because I said that Abraham Lincoln was the first president of the United States because America never had slavery, and so America really started after that, and that America stopped being America during Roosevelt and came back to being America after Nixon with a slice of Johnson, if I do say. And he gave me an F- for that. And ever since then, this guy has just...
7th grade social studies teacher commanded so much more authority and respect. I think he's under orders from Joe Biden to go easy on the Chinese, or maybe...
Well, then apparently Linda Thomas Greenfield fucked up because she called it a red line.
Maybe just sit there and take it. We had a...
What the fuck is he supposed to do? Slap Wang Yi across the fucking face?
Summit a while back in Alaska. A delegation from America, a big delegation from China. Tony Blinken represented us. And the Chinese ate our lunch.
Did they? Because they ended up getting the AUKUS agreement and the CHIPS Act and the most, the heaviest sanctions on their tech sector fucking ever since that moment. They yelled a bunch. Didn't do them any fucking good.
Challenges facing the United States in human rights are deep-seated. They did not just emerge over the past 4 years, such as Black Lives Matter. It did not come up only recently. So we do hope that for our two countries, it's important that we manage our respective affairs well, instead of deflecting the blame on somebody else.
What do you think the American delegations, their real reaction was when China mentioned Black Lives Matter, huh? Oh, wait, that was just a scam we used to get elected. Oh, no, they're using this stuff against us.
Okay, I think we just learned something about Greg, that he has such a level of panic when Black Lives Matter is brought up that he believes that that's how everyone else reacts. Fucking hell.
Listen to the very weak response.
I have to tell you, what I'm hearing is very different from what you described. I'm hearing deep satisfaction that the United States is back, that we're re-engaged with our allies and partners.
By the way, as he's speaking, he's being translated for them. So you speak in a more measured tone so that every word is translated clearly. Greg doesn't know this because Greg barely speaks English.
I'm also hearing deep concern about some of the actions your government is taking. And we'll have an opportunity to discuss those when we get down to work.
When we get down to work. Now, that was the opportunity right then and there to stick it right back in their face. They called.
Yes, at the beginning of the negotiation, just say, hey, fuck you.
Called you out over Black Lives Matter, tried to say that you're a bunch of hypocrites. You got to stand up for us in the moment, and you couldn't handle it. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, right. Anyways, I don't know.
It's President's Day. Easy to forget. People just.
Is it? Is it easy to forget? I don't think that was. Did anybody forget yesterday? I mentioned it a couple of times. I think we're all aware, right?
They're kind of treating this as
Our president was meeting with Ukraine's president. That kind of was a good use of President's Day, I think.
Day off.
We were all talking about what a wonderful guy Jimmy Carter is.
It's not a day of celebration. It's not a day to admire George Washington and how he.
Why not?
Founded our country and what they went through. This is like.
Why not?
I didn't realize he crossed the Delaware on Christmas Day. It was Christmas.
You just. I'm starting to understand why your social studies teacher fucking hated your guts. You're a newsman and you just discover. All right.
It's so freezing out there.
It's so cold. And they didn't call the war for snow. They didn't have a snow day. Fuck, man, are you forever in 7th grade?
What he did for all of us. Abe Lincoln, all right? Both of these men, they have their birthdays right around.
The only two he remembers. What do you think he goes to next? Kennedy?
Now, so they combined
maybe
it for President's Day. We were so blessed that these men were born when they were born, where they were born, and they deserve to be recognized.
And how they were born. I don't think if either of them had been C-sections, we would have won the war a completely different way.
Recognized, don't they? By our government, at least, right? No, nothing from the White House today about President's Day. It's all about Joe and his Ukrainian super tour.
Well, I'm sorry. So the president is supposed to pat himself on the back for being president and talk about presidents from what? I'm sorry, did I miss the 4 years of President's Day that Trump put on every year where he celebrated all the greatest, where he sat down and read selected writings from fucking Truman and Roosevelt and Taft?
The Department of Defense did put,
or in his case, I suppose, Hoover.
This out. I thought it was, it's about, diversity. Something about diversity.
On the 18th. On the 18th.
Diversity is a strategic imperative critical to mission readiness. Diversity is a strategic imperative critical to mission readiness and accomplishment. No, it's not.
Sure it is. I got news for you. It's going to be really hard to send white redneck spies into China and North Korea, or send black dudes into Russia as a spy, for example. It's gonna be difficult. You're gonna need a broad group of people to choose from, and reflective of the broader populace isn't a bad idea either. That we can all get along because it's indicative of what kind of country we are.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
And look at this. How festive and happy President's Day. Is that overwhelming or what? And look at this little message on top. Thank you for your contributions to the DOD. They're thanking presidents for their contributions to the DOD. Kind of like an employer, when an employee moves on, we thank you for your contributions to us, the employer, the DOD, the swamp. The presidents work for the DOD, your contributions.
Motherfucker, you used to work for the DOD. This asshole was in the Army or the Air Force or wherever.
That's very swampy, isn't it?
Is it?
Stay with us. We'll be right
back. I'm sorry. So their tweets. We're breaking down their tweets. We'll be right back. No, you won't, Greg. No, you won't. I'm Hal Sparks. This is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Hi, chat room. Can I? Greg is a miserable fuck, and every day his misery brings us so much joy, so much happiness, knowing that after he starts every show, right before the camera rolls, going fuck, and then right as soon as they go, that's a wrap, fuck, and then he walk all the way back to his fuck, fuck, Joe Biden's president, Obama's not in jail, fuck, and he sits in his chair and I can't even enjoy it, fuck. Oh, Sean, get out of my chair. No, I still can't enjoy it, fuck. And he gets on the butt, fuck. What a miserable bastard. It's kind of beautiful, actually. I don't know. So, this is just, it's so good watching him just like it's like watching somebody grind their
You had to throw that in about being a former mark.
No, you didn't. Hold on 1 second. Wait 1 second. Somebody. Okay. I thought Chip had pushed the door open. I was like, is the kitty doing a thing? Nope. I'll hear him if he goes though. Oh wait. Hold on. Oh hi, Murph. Murph, you all right? Uh-huh. I'm doing a show, Murph. I'm almost done. Hi, I love you. What? Oh, okay. Right. All right. 70? Wow. That's amazing. Vegas is under a wind advisory. They're saying gusts up to 70 miles an hour. It's not the speed of the wind so much as the content. And I don't have to tell you guys that. So our dear friend CSL, be careful. And to all those wearing a toupee, I would stay indoors or wear a hat. All right, so now there is a. I thought the balloon thing was over. I gotta say, I thought we'd moved on, and there was just that's it. Fucking enough with the fucking balloons. Nope. Greg Kelly's gonna bring it up, and the only upside I can see to this next video, where the people in it, the Demes and Debbie D'Souza, the only solace I believe they can find in the balloon is that it was white. They feel much more comfortable. If it had been any other color balloon, ironically enough, especially Debbie, it would have been rough. But the big fear is, will China use balloons to take their most expensive missiles, float them close so that they can launch them quicker, their hypersonic missiles, and hopefully detach so they don't just spin around and fly up into the sky and attack them by accident, or fly back home and crash because they didn't come up. Or they're going to drop a payload. They're testing the skies. He looks very nervous. Why? Looks like Dinesh is under a wind advisory as well. All right. So, for those of you who've never been on this ride with us before, he's a felon, and he did the 2,000 Mules movie, which was a colossal waste of time. We went all the way through it, and it ate a pile of corpse ass, and then didn't actually amount to a hill of beans, which is the greatest thing about it. The money spent, the time spent, the like them trying to promote it, and then nothing happened. Nothing. Fucking nothing. 100% of fucking nothing, which is exactly, by the way, what I told you would happen from this stupid thing. So, then, occasionally he'll say some really awful shit about people coming across the southern border. Not surprising. What is surprising is that because Debbie, his wife, is originally from Venezuela, she's worse. Yes, nothing is worth. Yeah, Debbie's acting was the whole purpose of 2,000 Mules. Talk about jumping your cues, lady. All right. So this is the threat an EMP attack poses to our grid system. We don't have a grid system. We have a power grid, and it's not a smart grid. It's not completely interconnected. Maybe he's going to make a case that it shouldn't be because an EMP would have to hit every portion of it. But I mean, breakers and what? Never mind. I have no fucking idea. It says, Debbie and I discussed the dangers of an EMP attack. Life without electricity is more than an inconvenience. It would remove us largely from modern civilization. Largely. I mean, it depends on your definition of modern. Because who else in the chat grew up making fires with flint and steel? Just me? Cool. My dad just sent me my grandfather's percussion rifle. Yeah, he put a new cap on it. Isn't that nice? All right, so let's see. I'm curious. You're curious. Barf, barf.
In the last several days, we've seen...
In the last several days. Easy there. I think he's nervous already.
In the last several days, we've seen all kinds of strange...
Oh, dear. In the last couple of days. Oh, dear. I've seen wonderful, I don't know. Yes.
Events occurring around the country.
Yes, wars and rumors of wars, rivers and seas boiling, 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Dogs and cats.
Train derailments. Just
well, train derailments, even though there are something in the order of 800 of them a year. Obviously, scale is a... Yes.
Another derailment just yesterday.
Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if that's as big a deal as he thinks it is. Shall we? Let's see. How many trains derail in the U.S. every year? Let's see. From 1990 to 2021, there are, on average, 1,705 train derailments per year. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Right. 1,705. That's, yeah. That's a lot. I'm just going to go. Yeah. Hold on. So there's 4.6. We'll round up to 5. There's 5 on average. 5 train derailments every day. Yeah. 5 every day. That's right. Weird. interesting. And from 1990 to now, none of them gave a fuck. Yeah, 4.67.
Multiple train derailment.
Derangement. There's train derangement syndrome. People don't like trains. They don't like Trump. They don't like anything that starts with TR. Tractor. Fuck those things.
At the same time, objects in the sky being shot.
Yes, aliens, derailing trains, balloons. It's like a kid's birthday party, but it's the whole sky.
Shot down by the U.S. military. Chinese
allegedly
balloons drifting across the United States, apparently making their way to Canada. Back in the U.
That's a new one. Did anybody see the part where the balloon went back to Canada? I missed that part. I gotta watch the news more.
U.S. another balloon in South America.
What? Not over Venezuela.
And so Debbie and I are like, what's going on?
We're like, what the hell? We're like, what? And she's like, what the hell? What? We're like, what? We wrote it down. We put paper. What?
So the one thing that you want to focus on is something that people don't like to talk about.
Uh-oh. Cocky duty. Poo-poo time. Light a match, Dinesh. It'll save your marriage.
But is something that we should at least be aware of. And
yeah, we don't like to talk about it, but we should be aware of it, is that aliens like to anally probe Trump fans. That's right. If you speak with a MAGA accent or wearing a red hat and you ever see a bright light in the sky, immediately stuff a cork in your ass and run for cover. That is your only chance.
That is the possibility of some kind of an EMP or electromagnetic pulse.
Right. Oh, see, I was off. But I thought it was something. I think I was worried about something else. An EMP. Shit. Well, let's see. Hold on one second. There we go. That's, my goodness.
Attack.
Right. And it's really, our grid system in the United States, we have several, right? They're all very antiquated. And it also could be the reason why all these trains are derailing as well, because
that's right. Maybe they're electric trains. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the giant kid in the sky who turns the little dial that makes the train go faster forgot to make the bridge go up, and then they hit the little guy holding the little flag. And then what?
Our infrastructure is extremely old. So,
well, that's why Biden managed to pass an infrastructure bill and why Trump is so fucking angry.
Among
other reasons, that and he's in deep shit and he's never going to be president.
That kind of all ties in. But this
No, it doesn't. Aging infrastructure and Chinese spy balloons have nothing in fucking common.
Particular threat is very real. And
that's right. It is very real. I thought I was imagining it, but it turns out no.
In many instances, people think, it's just, it's only a conspiracy theorist or what
talking
theory
point,
or whatever, a talking point. But it actually is something that if it were to happen.
Okay, this is, all right. I can tell, and so can you, that this is going to get very, very technical. Some folks are in for the nerdy stuff. Some folks watch this show because of the amount of like techno babble I can get into. Those who've been watching my latest streams on AI, for example, I can get a little. I'm named after a computer. I can get a little digawonk if I may, if you do, if I can, if I will. But holy shit, this is gonna get. I feel like I'm about to learn something.
And these are a lot of sources. This is actually from the Washington Examiner. It says, imagine
tell us the story.
Imagine an event that took out the majority of the power grids in the nation.
So some areas do have their power grid. Okay. So it's not a complete wipeout. Take out the grid, okay? And so we would what, caravan to the, because obviously, you know, you'd have to swap out batteries, I think, because they'd have to, yeah, or charge them through some other source. Maybe having solar panels would be a good idea then. Gosh, if the power, because I mean, you can't EMP the sun, I guess. Thanks for making the case for solar power and wind. Well, obviously, EMPs have no effect on wind turbines.
Not only would our grids be down, but all modern
not all
automobiles, telephones, communication equipment, computers,
dildos. Yep, I'm with you. Right, vibrators, the little thing that Dinesh keeps in the nightstand when you've rebuffed him one too many times.
Refrigerators, air conditioners, heaters, internet, computers would be destroyed. And
fleshlights, night vision goggles, anything you'd see in Jamie Gum's house.
And even if people,
except for the gas stove, I suppose,
did not panic, they would soon begin to die.
Oh yes, they would die calmly though, and I think that's the important thing, ladies and gentlemen. If I may, that's the one great thing about Americans is that while first of all, none of us would ever survive very long. Evolve to survive the lights going out for any length of time. If Facebook's down for just a couple of days, half the population would wipe themselves out. They're just lemming themselves off a fucking cliff. Needless to say, you know, if there was a true emergency, we would certainly not come together like we do in areas where the hurricane or tornado or something knocks out the power, or an earthquake. That never happens.
So this is, and think of those who are like dependent on electricity for oxygen, kidney dialysis, or, you know, another mechanical means to stay alive. They would all die within a matter of hours.
Or you'd have backup generators, or somebody in the neighborhood would start hooking up their Peloton and start pedaling like a motherfucker to keep these people alive. I'm just saying.
So this is very real, and this is something that, you know, we love to spend money on other countries, like, you know, Ukraine. We just gave.
Oh, I see. So, why aren't we spending money on EMP defense? Why are we wasting money on Ukraine when we need an anti-electrical grid attack balloon device? Well, first of all, dum-dum, one of the things we can do is transfer as quickly as we can to renewables, so that the electrical grids have backups in certain areas, so that if you can't transport fuel to a certain place or any of the pumping stations go down, you can still get power from the solar panels on your house for a period of time to charge devices, and then use a satellite system, let's say, to get cell phone coverage. You know, just replace those, the kind they do in emergencies when the cell service goes down, they drop a bunch of those. That would happen in a matter of a couple of days everywhere.
Them, you know, a ton of money again. Why don't we invest our money where it matters for our livelihood here in America? And that
right. And what would that be? Tell us, Debbie, what's the device? Debbie's invented something, and I can't wait. I'm excited. Why can't we have an anti-EMP ray gun? So we shoot it out of the sky. Why not? I don't know. Let's see.
That is strengthen our grid system.
Yes, right. You mean like the stuff that's in the infrastructure bill? Fucking hell. Are these assholes just gonna keep asking for shit that Biden has already done? Hold on. Whoops, hold on one second. Oh, Debbie. Debbie, why do you let us down? Why don't you give me a challenge anymore, Debbie, every day I stand at this microphone in front of these lights and these monitors, and I scream to the internet gods, give me a challenge. Let me this day strive so that I may extend my abilities and my mental capacity through the challenges put before me, sharpening my wits and my reasoning and my logic like a knife. And what do you present to me, Debbie? Melted butter. That's what you do, just a dish of melted butter. Give me something to chisel on, goddammit. Why, Debbie? Why, Debbie? Don't you know that in the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, why don't you know that $65 billion were allocated to upgrade the grid? You goofy... All right, here we go. The $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill includes $65 billion for upgrading the electrical grid. Let's see if I can hear that. This is a long overdue investment. The grid, which consists of more than 7,300 power plants, 160,000 miles of high-voltage power lines, and millions of low-voltage power lines, has parts that are more than a century old and was recently given a C- score by the American Society of Civil Engineers. That's not the post-it on the refrigerator grade you'd expect from the largest economy in the world. The $65 billion will go toward investments in enhancing grid reliability and resilience, expanding and upgrading transmission lines, improving grid flexibility with demand response and distributed energy resources, and boosting cybersecurity. Weird. That do you even bother? Debbie. Why, Debbie? Why? Why do you give me such weak sauce? Why do you serve up such weak sauce? It may be spicy enough for the messes palate, but not for mine. We need some spicy sauce, Debbie. Debbie. For American households, these investments should translate into fewer and shorter blackouts, cheaper energy costs, and a cleaner environment. Integrating distributed energy sources, two-way flow of electricity, saving energy when it matters the most, and cybersecurity. Debbie, you're pitiful, Debbie.
To sustain such an attack. And it's not out of the question that China could do that, because these balloons, while they claim were only used for weather monitoring.
Yep. Grid. Too many Muppet shows episodes as a kid. I'm just saying.
They could actually have that, that nuclear bomb, whatever goes off in the air in the.
Yeah, easy. Slow down, Techie McGeek Squad. Simmer down, Debbie. Some of us are having a hard time keeping up with all this technological mumbo jumbo.
Atmosphere to actually take down the grids. It's very high in the atmosphere, so it could definitely do it.
Yeah, if it's too low in the atmosphere, it'll just bounce off of Kansas.
They could do that.
They could do that. That's, And I mean, it's not like, what is the U.S., it's not, we don't have the technology to detect nuclear fissile material floating through the air or being transported anywhere on the globe at this point. Why would we even bother during the Cold War to develop that technology? And certainly not in regard to where it is over the United States or anything. I don't even know why this would even, all right.
What's to stop them?
I mean, besides the fact that we have stopped buying largely electronics from them and we're going to buy them from someplace else, so all they would be doing is zeroing out the shit they sold us.
We didn't stop them initially from doing this. They had four?
We didn't seem to know about the balloons at all.
Yeah.
during the Trump administration.
Even if the balloons themselves are not the vehicles of the attack, they could...
Yeah, they're still pretty. Even if the balloons aren't here to harm us, they're big and shining in the sky like a second moon, like a big fluffy moon. Even if this is nothing, let's make it into something. We've got to stretch this video out because it has to be over 6 minutes long or we won't get the ad rev.
Be the prelude to it. So the balloon is a way.
Yes, the balloons are the first strike. That's the they didn't do anything about the balloons, so they probably won't react to missiles either.
Way of checking things out. It's almost like the criminal scouting out beforehand to figure out where are the points of vulnerability.
Yes, that's my favorite part of the movie Heat, where Tom Sizemore, bless his heart, he's dealing with an aneurysm, wish him well, is in the he's in the basket of the balloon floating over the bank with holding the kid and the bag of money. And he's waving to Val Kilmer on the ground, who's dressed like Dick Van Dyke. I don't know. It's a weird... I must have watched the wrong cut of Heat.
Where do I need to attack? Let's remember that...
Where do I need to attack? Well, probably a bunch of places, but unfortunately, because we sent a balloon, we can only check out the places where the wind blows, and not too hard, where it would... Yeah. Would that have been a good spot? I can't tell you, honestly, because our balloon got close and then the winds blew it south. Missed by about 100 miles. I mean, it's not an exact... It's a balloon. I mean, I don't know what the fuck you want.
Additional type of attack, you know, where troops come surging into your borders. I think that...
Yeah, usually they're not in balloons. That is true. Sure.
That kind of attack the U.S. could easily repel.
Yeah, but balloons, our fucking hands are tied. What are we going to do? Everybody, just get these stick pin guns. That's what we need. We need ones that just shoot giant push pins into the sky. Poot, 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 like that. Please, quickly, get some ninjas and some Maasai warriors from an 80s movie with blowguns. It's our only defense.
Even a direct nuclear strike may not work. First of all, we have ways to defend against that. Second of all, we have a nuclear capacity of our own.
Uh-huh. Right. Which, obviously, an EMP strike is a form of nuclear strike.
But this kind of an EMP attack is directly paralyzing to the whole citizen.
Sorry, somebody in the chat room saying, hold on, what was it? Hal, you're wrong. So sorry, a single missed balloon could shut off the entire country at 80,000 feet. No, it could if the...
throw that in about being a former mark.
In the last several days, we've seen...
In the last several days. For the record, technically speaking, in an abject sense, it could wipe out an area that big. We do have fail-safes, and we do have guards against an EMP strike. We've had them since the 80s. There are definitely going to be parts of the country that would be more fucked than others. But big cities have been building redundancies against specifically EMP attacks since the height of the Cold War. Since we actually had the ability to do it. Doesn't mean that so hold on. So just for the record, I hear you. Where is it? Saha, I hear you. But that would be if we had no defenses and we weren't doing it at all. Like we weren't responding at all. Which is what these assholes think, for the record.
You know, that nuclear bomb, you know, whatever goes off in the air, in the atmosphere.
Yes, that's what it is. It's a nuclear bomb, whatever, that goes off in the atmosphere. Which indeed is a nuclear strike. No, there is no situation where the United States has a nuclear weapon detonated over our airspace at 80,000 feet to flatten our grid, and we're like, it wasn't really a nuclear strike. I mean, we shouldn't respond. I mean, let's think about it.
To actually take down the grids. It's very high in the atmosphere, so it could definitely do it. They could do that. What's to stop them? I mean, we didn't stop them in
mass murder, largely. And Dinesh is, don't look at us, Dinesh. You married her.
Initially from doing this.
He's like, This is what she sounds like at breakfast, too.
They had what,
We
4?
didn't seem to know about the balloons at all.
Yeah.
And even if the balloons themselves are not the vehicles of the attack, they could be the prelude to it. So the balloon is a way of checking things out. Right. It's almost like vulnerability. Where do I need to attack? Let's remember that a traditional type of attack, where troops come surging into your borders, I think that kind of attack the U.S. could easily repel. Even a direct nuclear strike may not work. First of all, we have ways to defend against that. Second of all, we have a nuclear capacity of our own. But this kind of...
We have automatic retaliatory strikes programmed in. They know this. We know this. Everybody knows this. How many fucking movies have you seen where it just... They don't have to wait for the go. If we've been struck, it just happens.
An EMP attack is directly paralyzing to the whole citizenry. In a matter of...
Oh, speak for your fucking self. Some of us can camp, asshole.
Time. I mean, don't even count the people who are immediately affected, like someone, let's say, who's on dialysis or needs treatment. But by and large, think of all the people who rely on a supply chain. All the food that shows up in our grocery stores comes as a result of...
Now, sure. I mean, obviously... then maybe what Biden's doing to shorten the supply chains so a lot of it's available here is actually better. I don't know. At this point, it's hard to...
Yeah, and not to mention all the electric things they're pushing, like electric vehicles, electric, ovens. Think of all of that. That would go kaput, right? But the interesting...
Your gas stove uses an electric flint. It's hooked up to an electric... It's plugged in. I guess you could get one of those little... gas flint things to light it for a while, but maybe that's news to you.
Thing is that EMPs can also be a natural form of geomagnetic disturbance, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Chinese don't even have to do it. God could just decide that he hates us. What happens if all the gays get married? Then what? Look, he let a few of them through, but if all of them get married, zappity-doo-dah, Black Adam all over the place.
It could be like extreme solar geomagnetic disturbance. That is not man-made. So,
well, says you. Also, it's not U.S.-centric.
If we're going to protect our grid, we have to protect it from all kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Hunter Biden probably had a no-show job on the sun. And that's why he and his father are they're in cahoots. They're compromised by big sunshine. That's why they don't want to fix it. Have you seen how much most of the time they're out during the daylight? Huh? You seen this? How little he's out at night? You think that's an accident? He's in cahoots. He got this no-show job from vitamin D.
Right, not just man-made like China and Russia potentially, and even Iran. I've often said that Iran loves to have their grip on Latin America because it would be a short-range missile for them, right? It's only 1,300 miles away from Venezuela to Miami. So all they need...
Yeah, and that would be the target. It'd be Miami, would it? They'd move all the way. They'd move their weapons all the way to Venezuela, just so they could fire on Miami. Is it? I see. So they're not a big fan of stone crab.
What we need to do is a short range missile and take out our grid system, and there we go.
That's a long range missile. That would require an ICBM. That would require an intercontinental ballistic missile from Venezuela to Miami. Yeah, that's not a short range. I'm starting to think she doesn't know her shit.
go. So it's extremely disturbing that they haven't done that. They desperately need new innovations. The United
Yes, I agree. That's why it's in the Infrastructure Act, stupid.
States to mitigate the threat and the damage of these EMP attacks.
If these idiots propose $65 billion to rebuild the electrical grid, I'm going to plots.
I mean, the thing that frustrates me is that these things are not hard to figure out. My fear is that none of them are actually happening because you're dealing with an administration. And I guess it was yesterday or the day before I was reviewing the Biden kind of defense manual where they talk about their priorities. And, honey, I mean, their priorities are things like, gay month and like...
Gay month. Hey, anybody get anybody get their notification about what you're supposed to do for gay month? Fucking hell. Run that by me again. Gay month. Fuck you.
Priorities are things like, gay month.
Gay month. That's it. Like, all right, guys, what's our... Look, she's even laughing at him. What's our priority? When are we going to really shoot for this year? Well, don't forget gay month. Gay month. Gay month. And he's confused. How the fuck would you... The nerve of these people to make gay month. Sorry, lesbians and bisexuals and trans people and queer people in general. Nope, just gay month. It's not a Pride Month. Pride Month's for everybody. Gay month, which is May, of course, because it rhymes. That's all. And it's cute. So, fucking cute. Jesus Christ. Gay month. The kidney. All right.
And like Africa, Honor Africa Day.
Racial.
Honor. Gay month. Honor Africa Day. And what?
Diversity.
Equity and inclusion in the military.
Just week, obviously. Diversity, equity, and inclusion in the military week. April, right.
They act as if the military has nothing to do with being a military. It has nothing to do with defending the country. It has nothing to...
Yeah, you can't gay and fight at the same time. You can't fight while gay. You gotta be a strapping straighter like the mess here. I like the pussy, hell yeah. You know what I mean? You gotta be badass stuff. You can't be in a foxhole and going, Will you keep your eye on the enemy, please? I can't help it. You look so good in your uniform. Quit it. All right. Where are they? Who are we shooting at again? I forgot. I was too busy being gay. Will you stop it? It's not even gay month. When is gay month? They sent me the wrong calendar. They just sent me the daily thing. It's what's today? It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, that's the coming out day. That's you come out. You have to understand. You have to understand. These people started this with worried about an EMP, and now they're concerned that gay people hate electricity so much they just let the attack happen or something. I don't know. There are no gay electricity. Oh my fucking God. can't. Hold on. Wait, back up.
And like, honey, I mean, their priorities are things like, Gay Month and like Africa, Honor Africa Day,
racial diversity,
equity and inclusion in the military.
Yeah.
They act as if the military has nothing to do with being a military. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's all just gay, black, and inclusive now. You can't be inclusive in the military. The military is exclusive. I exclude you from planet Earth. Wait, I thought we were here to defend these people. No. We just shoot those people too. Haven't you heard Jimmy Dore? We just kill everybody. We don't care. We're just here to get the oil. Well, how do we get the oil out of the ground if we killed everybody? We'll bring our own workers over. We don't have enough. We'll make poor people do it. We don't have enough poor people to do it. All right, we'll get the locals. We killed them all. Fuck. I'm beginning to think we should stop listening to Jimmy Dore and Dinesh D'Souza. Their plans are shit.
Nothing to do with defending the country. It has nothing to do with assessing threats or meeting them. It's an
no. It's all just catty bullshit and gay month.
Extremely disheartening and, to some degree, if you really dwell on it, frightening situation.
Yes, frightening. What happens if it's gay month and all the lights go out and everybody's oiled up and in a big room together and you don't know what body part is whose and you're like, but I'm not even gay, but I'm slip sliding away. This is the moment where we find out that Dinesh's nightmare is that somebody when he was a kid said, everybody's gay in the dark, Dinesh. What? No. What? They are? What? That's not... Quit it. Mom, can I turn the light on? Dinesh, you're 19 years old. Move the fuck out. Mom, just turn the light back on. Why? Because everybody's gay in the dark. What? Yeah, how do you... I mean, all the parts feel vaguely the same. You mean you wouldn't recognize another penis in the dark if it was erect and you came across it with your hand? Like you wouldn't go, hey, that feels like mine, and that's a penis. And you wouldn't... No! I wouldn't. I would just have to sit on it. I don't know. Mom, just leave the light on.
In the last...
Everybody's gay in the dark. Oh, shit. Oh, thank you guys for coming by the show today. Oh, god damn, that was fun. Oh, god. Well, yeah. For all of our gay viewers, happy gay month, which is every month. Happy gay day, which is every day that ends in gay. It's like every kiss begins with K. Every day ends with gay. And don't worry about it, Dinesh. You're still straight with the lights off unless you're not already. Okay? It's not how it works. So, yes, what did we learn today? That Greg Kelly thinks you can compromise people with commonly known details about someone's life. That Donald Trump is looking forward to 413-year-olds on death row. And Dinesh D'Souza thinks everybody's gay in the dark. And he fears an EMP almost worse than anything. Because here's the other thing. What if the person in the person in the dark with you, like you can't tell, what if they're like Mexican or black or Asian or even white? How would you even know? We need light. I blame the sun for racism. Anyways, fucking hell. Anyways, I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Philip Bittner will be joining us for the second half of the show tomorrow in the sort of follow-up of what happened after Biden's trip to Ukraine and a bunch of other stuff that's happening. And then, of course, we'll do the trends and all that kind of stuff, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then the afternoon show is at 3 o'clock because I love you guys. Next week, Tuesday, Ultimate Jam Night. We're doing a tribute to Sammy Hagar. We've got some heavy hitters showing up. I think Tracy Guns is going to be there from LA Guns. I think maybe Orianthi is going to be there, if I'm pronouncing her name right. It's going to be pretty kick-ass. And I, of course, am going to be singing some Sammy. Oh, yes. At the very least, Best of Both Worlds, Dreams, and a Montrose song, which is a surprise, and possibly one or two others. I'm gonna, yeah. And I will be performing with those lovely folks. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know, John. Right? Bad Motor Scooter's a great idea. That's a good idea too. So much. Anyways, chat room, love you. You guys are awesome, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Fucking hell. Oh, everybody's gay in the dark. It's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. I think it explains Greg Kelly now that I think about it.